What's up, you guys? So today we're gonna make this roasted pork belly that you can surely wow your guests by making this during special occasions. One, it's easy to make. Two, it's very flavorful. It's crispy on the outside, juicy and tender, and flavorful on the inside. It's one of those dishes where you can make it in advance, throw it in the oven for a couple of hours, and forget about it. As you can see, I took this knife to show you how crispy and brittle this skin is by scraping it against the brown baked skin. And I'm also tapping onto it as well. It will surely be a people pleaser that everyone will be talking about. So, with that being said, let's get started. Okay, so first, we're gonna take a slab of pork belly and make some slits onto it, and deliberately apply salt onto the meat and into the crevices. Next, we're gonna apply some ground pepper onto the meat, as well, making sure that the ground pepper has reached into the crevices of the belly as well. Now we're going to take a handful of garlic that has been chopped and place it all over the meat, and we're going to massage the garlic into the crevices, making sure it gets into there. Next up, we're going to take some red onions, about 2 bulbs, and slice it and place it onto the pork belly, making sure that the red onion is placed along the middle of the pork belly. Up next, we're going to take some soy sauce, about 1/8 of a cup, and sprinkle it all over the meat, making sure it has reached within the crevices of the pork belly. I also like to place some soy sauce onto the edges of the meat so that it can brown well during the cooking process. Now, I prefer to use a dark soy sauce rather than a light soy sauce, just because I want the flavor and coloring to be soaked into the meat, which only a high quality dark soy sauce can do. It will give a depth of saltiness and earthiness while helping the meat brown up while roasting. Next up, we're gonna add some liquid seasoning and apply it all over the meat. I used about 3 tablespoons because a little goes a long way. I added this for an extra layer of depth and flavor, which only this seasoning can do, and I find it really complements well with the soy sauce. Now we're gonna add some thinly sliced lemongrass onto the meat. I've used about 3 stalks, and I placed it along the center of the pork belly. Lemongrass will add a nice touch and flavor to the meat, as it will permeate through the pork belly. Lastly, we're going to add a bunch of green onion stalks and place it onto the center of the meat. I like to stack them so that last, because it holds the other ingredients together. Now, this is the tricky part that might require a second person. We're going to tie up the pork belly by rolling the meat together and placing kitchen twine tightly to make sure that the rolled pork belly doesn't come undone during the cooking process. Since I didn't have anyone to help me, it was a bit of a struggle, but I managed to do it on my own by tying one end and then the opposite repeatedly until I was able to form a tightly rolled pork belly. Some of the ingredients might pop out, but that's okay. You can shove it in back later. This part is a tedious process, but I promise you it is truly worth the wait. So once the pork belly is rolled, we're gonna some holes onto the skin to release its oils and become more crispy as it cooks. Be sure not to poke too deep into the meat as it can lose moisture. You just want to poke the holes into the meat that is underlying the skin to release its oils and fats. Lastly, we're going to take some soy sauce and apply it onto the skin to facilitate the browning of the skin as it roasts. Bake in the oven at 375 for 5 hours or until the skin is caramel brown and the meat is tender and juicy on the inside.